Hi Aries, welcome to your May 2017 love reading. It's Raina here, and as you can see, I've laid out the cards. I did want to start over again, and it is easier sometimes than editing, so here we are. I wanted to tell you that Venus is going to be in your sign all month, and of course you're coming off of this, or we all are, this Venus retrograde in April. And what is happening is that we're having a second go around of Venus in Aries. So you're getting like a double dose of it in your sign. And as far as I can see, that has to be in some way fortunate for Aries sun or rising signs, because Venus can bring love, it can bring money. And so in your sign, it can make you very attractive to others. And I'm thinking of the word attract, you know, not just like looking beautiful, but actually attracting good to you, attracting love to you in this case. So anyway, looking at the cards, you know, the first thing that struck me was the fact that there were 3 wands out of 7. And wands actually connect to fire signs like Aries. The other fire signs are Leo and Sagittarius. And so the qualities that make up fire signs are also what we connect to wands. So one of the big ones in the tarot with wands is career matters. And there was a time when I thought to myself, well, why would fire signs connect with career matters? Because, you know, I think of pentacles, I think of practical things. And really, there's a difference between work and career, you know. There's a difference between the 6th house of work and the 10th house of career. Your career is your aspirations in terms of your life's journey. And not that it always works out that way, but because sometimes you have like these spiritual desires that don't necessarily parlay into a particular profession. But I'm talking about the professional goals that you have that are connected to your talents, for instance. And the 10th house is the house of, you know, your reputation in the world and how other people see you as being a success in this life. And, you know, there's no one measurement of success, but it still is something that we do look at other people and say, are they making use of their talents? Okay. And so anybody can get a job, but you know, if you're doing something that makes use of your talents, then it's more in alignment with your perfect career. So I think that because the fire signs connect with the ego, and I'm saying that in a good way, which is like the soul's expression in this lifetime, you know, in this incarnation, as represented by the sun, then that can show the creative self. It's just creativity, really. And the wands are connected to creativity. So it's a facet of that creativity. And what else was I going to say? Well, let me just begin, because the overall theme kind of goes along with this, because the 5 of Wands for you, Aries, when I picked this card as I was doling out the cards, I was thinking to myself, you know, if there was ever the ultimate example of you know, a card that connects with Aries in the minor arcana, maybe it would be this one. And I don't know. I mean, I do know it connects with fire signs, but whether it connects specifically with Aries, I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. But this is a card of competition. This is a card of, it can be of lack of harmony in a situation. Maybe there's fighting going on, infighting. And this is a love reading. So this is talking about those of you who are having battles in your relationships. Now, I want to make a point of also addressing you singles, because I've been focused too much on relationships. What I would say, if you're single watching this, and you could be divorced and single, obviously, is watch for what is the type of relationship that you're looking for. Are you looking for a relationship that you have a sparring partner? Because Aries is a sign that likes to start stuff. And I say that very seriously, but not condemning you. It's just that you have to have a healthy outlet. It's not healthy to, start fights. That's not how you find excitement in life. If you are looking for somebody that you can debate with, then that's fine. I like to debate. But I'm not going to look for a partner who is opposite me so that I always have somebody that I can argue with. There's a difference between debating and arguing, although maybe technically there's not. It's about not being angry, mean-spirited about it, I suppose. But in your relationships, are you looking for harmony, or maybe you're not? If you also have Venus in Aries, I'm going to be doing a series on the different natal placements of Venus. And this is because it's important to know what sign your Venus is in when you're looking at your love life, especially if you've been having patterns that don't agree with your life, because sometimes there can be contradictions. So there, in other words, there can be combativeness in your relationship, competition, especially if you have, for instance, had some setbacks career-wise and your partner is doing really well, is flourishing. You may feel a sense of inferiority, and then you may use these covert tactics to knock them down a peg. And you may not even be consciously doing it. You may be doing it on an unconscious level because you don't feel good about yourself. Or it could be that your partner is doing something to you. I tend to think that Aries is the instigator because you naturally gravitate towards kind of fiery exchanges and relationships. The trick is to seek passion, not drama. And some people don't know the difference, unfortunately. Passion is something that builds you up and feeds you in a positive way. Drama is just, it's not constructive behavior, it's destructive. It detracts from your life, it distracts you, it doesn't build you up. So if you're with a partner that is unpredictable and unstable, that may be exciting to you, but it's a negative type of excitement. It's not true passion. So that might be going on. I think that there's a Taurus person for some of you because the Hierophant is in the past position that connects to it. If there's a Taurus person, you may be clashing, and that might be why you have the Five of Wands. Typically, because Aries and Taurus are next to each other in the zodiac, sometimes they have a connection that I tend to see as sexual attraction, but the Aries person tends to get very bored with somebody who is a Taurus because they're an earth sign and they're a fixed earth sign, so they're very set in their ways. And Aries is all about constantly, charting new territory, experimenting, doing things different, not wanting to stay stuck in the same place, very forward looking. You also have Uranus transiting your sign, so that can even create more need and tendencies towards just doing the unpredictable, and somebody like a Taurus person would rub you the wrong way. However, this could just be a marital partner. The Hierophant connects to marriage. Perhaps this is a recent marriage and already you're starting to fight and you're like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? Especially if you got married very, I was going to say rapidly, but I meant, what's that word? Not spontaneously. You know, like rashly. You did not intend to do it, and you did it on the spur of the moment, and you weren't thinking. You may not have known the person well enough, and now you realize that you're incompatible. But maybe you've been married for 20 years for all I know, but there's like some sort of disharmony. For singles too, that could point to, it might have been that you were divorced and you're coming out of that situation. And the Five of Wands can be that you're competing for somebody's affections. That's also a possibility. That there's somebody who is seeing different people, not necessarily in a covert way or in some way that is dishonest. Maybe they're being very open with you and telling you that they're not interested in settling down yet or something like that. The situation right now is the Moon card. So for some people, there's deception going on. One thing that comes to mind is if you're finding that you're fighting with a partner, and this is kind of a new development for you, sometimes what is happening is that the person is cheating and they're either picking fights or they are withdrawing emotionally, and that is, you're feeling that, and you know that something has changed, but they're not confessing to it, so you're left with a sense of, am I being crazy? Am I imagining things? And so, because the Moon can talk about secrets, it can talk about not knowing everything that's happening. Sometimes the Moon is talking about self-deception. Maybe you're in a very inharmonious situation, but you are lying to yourself about it. You're saying it's not that bad, and you're doing it maybe because you don't want to leave this person. Maybe you are hung up on this person, or you just don't want to have to start over. Who knows? There are many reasons why people stay in less than happy relationships, and it's easy to judge other people for it, but if you're the one that is facing this, I mean, there's two, I was thinking the two different examples. If you just got married, you may feel embarrassed. Oh my God, you know, I just got married and now I'm getting divorced. And then there's the case of somebody who's been married for 30 years. It's hard. You have a habitual situation. It's not that easy to just pick up and leave, even when you're unhappy. The higher message is the Six of Swords, and so this is a card about, specifically about leaving a tumultuous situation for peaceful waters, choosing peace. And this can actually point to a physical move. One thing I wanted to say about the Moon card is it can also talk about the moon phases. So, for instance, at the end of April, there's a new moon in, well, I was going to say, there was actually a full moon in Libra on April 11th, and that is your opposite house. That's the 7th house. So that can be a time of endings for marriages. And whether or not it actually happens at that time, it can happen, that can be the aftermath. Also finding out something about a partner. But the Six of Swords is about, you know, and this is the message from the universe, is that this is something that is inevitable, or that when you decide that your peace of mind is more important than this situation, then you will decide that. what crosses you is represented by the Four of Cups. One thing that comes to mind with this card being a card of complacency or just dissatisfaction is that as a challenge card, it could be that, you know, you've gotten so much into that vibe that it's hard for you to act. Sometimes that happens as well. People are like on automatic. They become zombies when they are not, when they, you know, they've had this habit of just kind of going through the motions. It becomes hard to actually step out of that. I do feel that a lot of Aries people are perfectly capable of really charting new territory easier than most other signs. So this, I think that this card would be most probable for somebody who has a moon in a water sign. Well, any of the water signs for different reasons. Because for one thing, they will, maybe their emotions will cloud their judgment, or that they will kind of delay them taking action. But also because there can be that, with the emotional influence, it can cause them to actually drag their feet too. I mean, can feel like a deeper sense of hopelessness, for lack of a better word, than, let's say, if your moon was in an air sign, which would have more detachment attached to it. So, you know, Aries people who have a moon in a water sign can be quite emotional, because fire signs are also very passionate. So that combination can create people that feel very deeply. And that makes it harder to take action. Somebody who is an earth or an air sign for their moon sign tends to be very objective about their problems, and they can see them apart from their own preferences. And so they can see whether or not something's good for them, and they're not as attached emotionally either. So if they were to leave a partner, it wouldn't be that big of a deal compared to other signs. I mean, you know, elements like water or fire in the moon position. The other thing I was going to say is that the Four of Cups can also be, there's another interpretation. If you see that the person is getting offered something by Spirit, which is, since cups relate to emotions, there may be somebody who likes you, maybe romantically, and you're just like stone-faced because you didn't get what you wanted. Maybe you wanted this relationship to work out and it didn't. And so you're almost like blowing off a really good partner in favor of somebody who's unstable. And the number 4 represents stability. So it's like turning your back on emotional stability, because, like I say, you know, for some people it may make you feel alive to be with someone who you can't predict what they're going to do next, but it's not healthy, you know, it's not going to make your relationship stand the test of time. You know, and Aries is a natural daredevil, so they almost will reject anything that's stable so that they can feel that being on the edge of their seats, the cutting edge, the, you know, just never knowing what's going to happen, kind of like flirting with danger almost. And it's something that Aries people, as they mature, they have to kind of come to terms with, so that they can take risks in their life, but risks that are healthy risks. By the way, there could be a water sign person who is maybe that's the person that you're with. Maybe it's not a Taurus, maybe it's a water sign, a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces individual who is the one that's creating problems for you. The advice is the Three of Wands, or this could also be what is coming in, and this is a card of expansion. You may be thinking about leaving, you know, and it's right next to that Six of Swords. You may be thinking about moving, but this could also be about your career. And you may decide to go to another country for your career, but really it's about trying to get away from this person or this situation because you feel like maybe you need some geography between you and another person. It could just be about focusing on your career matters and kind of like putting all of your energy into that so that you're doing something constructive if you feel like you're having this clash. For those people who are single, I just want to say that you may find love in another geographic location. And maybe, you know, people sometimes cling to the known, thinking that that's where everything is happening, but you never know what kind of blessings could be bestowed upon you, and all you had to do was to travel to that place, and that was where you were meant to meet the person of your dreams. You know, you never know. Sometimes it happens when people go away to college. Sometimes it happens when they get their first job and they're in, you know, in a different location than their hometown. But it's kind of neat how we have these different things happen in our lives, and then with those new events come other blessings. The outcome is the Seven of Wands. So this is a card to me of self-empowerment in the sense that you're honoring yourself, you know. You're not allowing people to walk all over you, which is not typical of Aries, that's for sure. But who knows, maybe in your personal relationships, that's where you tend to be the most vulnerable. Or maybe it's some facet of that, like being generous to somebody who is not grateful, who uses you financially. Maybe it's someone who takes advantage of your trusting nature and they're cheating. It's right underneath the moon card, so you may have a revelation that makes you more protective of yourself in the future. This could also point to the type of person you're going to be with, a fellow fire sign, another Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarius. So that's always possible as well. But I think that it's like, really, it's like coming into your own, Aries, I would say. That you're, for people that have been in a negative situation, I think that you're going to be very proactive about it. Maybe you weren't in the past. Maybe you were like the moon card. Maybe you're deluding yourself. And now you realize finally that something has to give and that you have to take inspired action in order to get that relationship that you want, you know? If you really want it badly, if it's not happening in your current relationship, then you have to close one door to open another. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you'd like a private love reading or any other type of reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great May. Bye, Aries.